Hey guys, welcome to Chapel and welcome to The Couch. Hey, I hope you were able to get a good rest over the holiday period and have come back to term 4 ready to finish the year well. Now, I don't know about you, but ever since this whole COVID thing spiked again this year, I've been finding that my social media news feeds, the internet, TV, it's all been like literally flooded with bad news and negativity. Whether it be COVID cases rising, COVID restrictions tightening, criticisms of our country's leaders, anti-lockdown protests happening, and then when you add on all that's been going on in Afghanistan, it's all a bit much. And you know, it's not surprising that anxiety is at an all-time high right now. Anyway, this whole thing got me thinking, and honestly, I'm over it. Like, there is actually so much good news going on in our world at the moment that we could focus on, but it seems to just be flying under the radar. So this term in Chapel, our theme is good news. And we're going to be highlighting not only the good news going on around us in our world at the moment, but also good news from the Bible. And I'm super excited for it. But right now, it's time for our good news story of the fortnight. Each fortnight in Chapel this term, I'm going to be sharing with you a good news story of the fortnight. And today's good news story comes all the way from Florida, where a man happens to stumble across an alligator outside of his neighbor's house. Now, most people in this situation would call a licensed trapper to trap the alligator and release it back into the wild. But not this guy. Army vet Eugene Bozzi, armed with only a garbage bin, decides to try and trap the alligator himself and is actually successful in doing so. He manages to get the alligator inside the garbage bin. He then closes the lid, wheels it down his driveway and takes it to a nearby waterhole to release it back into the wild where he belongs. I think though that what makes this story so good is this. I don't know if you noticed in the video, but this man is literally wearing socks and slides. Now, I don't think I would ever try and capture an alligator in a garbage bin, but if I did, I can guarantee you that I'd have something on my feet that I could run pretty fast in case it came to that. But not our mate Eugene Bozzi. Eugene is literally wearing socks and slides. Anyway, hey, over the next fortnight, as you're scrolling through your TikTok or watching the news, that's if anyone even does that anymore. If you see a good news story that makes you chuckle, make sure you send it through, because you never know. That could be our good news story of the fortnight at our next Chapel. Alright, moving on. I'm keen for this next segment. I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Have You Been Paying Attention before, but if not, it's a comedy quiz show featuring 5 contestants competing to see who can remember the most about events and news from the past week. Anyway, in Chapel this term, we're going to be playing a version of this. The difference? All the stories that our contestants will be quizzed on are good news stories. Anyway, without further ado, here is this fortnight's episode of Have You Been Paying Attention? Good News Edition. Well, welcome to Have You Been Paying Attention? Good News Edition, where we look back at the good news of the last fortnight and ask, have you been paying attention? Today, I'm joined by Sarah Newton from Year 10, Alex Staffer from Year 10, Isla Stothart from Year 7, our head of Year 8, Mr. Reed, and our assistant head of senior school, none other than Mr. Roxby.
Oh my God.
How are we, guys?
Going great.
Oh, it was good.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's good to have you all here. Mr. Roxby, really stoked you're here, mate. I understand that you are famous in Queensland. Can you tell us a little bit about why that might be the case?
Yeah, I'm actually, I've got a record in Queensland. I'm actually the first documented case of a child getting their head stuck in a Ferris wheel.
Wow.
That's a good turn.
How old were you, mate?
I was about 7 years old, and I was in the Ferris wheel at like a little fair, and someone kind of yelled out something to me from above me. I was stuck my head out the Ferris wheel, and my carriage that went past one of the frames got stuck, and the whole Ferris wheel just stopped in motion. So I still going around and around, just stuck there until my head kind of spat out. And we had to go to hospital, had a bit of bleeding between the ears, and had to stay overnight. And yeah.
That was Spring Fair 2 years ago, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it could have been.
I love it. And hey, Alex Staffer, mate, a bit about you. I understand, I've heard on the grapevine that you have a bit of a hat collection. How many hats do you own, mate?
Oh, yeah. So in total, like with all like the sporting hats and just normal general hats, 47.
47 hats?
Yeah.
That's
Got
pretty
a
impressive.
rack of them on the wall, so
good. Well, guys, thank you for joining us on Have You Been Paying Attention? Good News Edition today. Today, we've got 10 questions. Each correct answer is worth 10 points, and the person with the most points at the end of the 10 questions is declared this fortnight's winner of Have You Been Paying Attention? Good News Edition. All right, contestants, are we good to go?
yep. Damn on.
All right, first question. There is good news for New South Wales residents wanting to travel internationally, with the New South Wales government announcing this fortnight that international travel will resume when?
Peter.
Mr. Reid.
Wasn't it when a travel bubble is approved with North Korea?
That, unfortunately, mate, is incorrect.
Andrew.
Yes, mate.
I think you find it's when 40% of the population have 7% of their first vaccination, followed by 15% of their children had their second vaccination, with 60% of their neighbours having their first vaccination as well.
Great attempt, Mr. Roxy, but unfortunately not the answer we're looking for.
Is it when 70% of North Korea has their vaccinations?
It is not. Sorry, mate.
Peter.
Andrew.
I think you find it's going to be in November, Alex.
That is correct. Question number 2. McDonald's have announced that until October 14, customers will be able to purchase a cheeseburger, large fries, or a small hot drink for only 5 cents. To access this deal, what must customers do?
Sarah.
Sarah.
Pass a Macca's Kahoot.
That would be a great marketing strategy, but
Andrew.
unfortunately, no. Yes, Mr. Oxby.
I think it's when you catch the Hamburglar.
No, sorry,
Alex.
mate. Yes, Alex.
When you sign up for the Macca's membership.
No.
Peter.
Yes, Mr. Reid.
I think you've got to be double vaxxed against cholesterol and high blood pressure.
Unfortunately not.
Isla,
Isla.
if you download the Macca's app.
Oh, good
is
job.
Correct. You must download the Macca's app, and, well, you have to also purchase your order with a Visa card. So we'll give that one to you, Isla. Well done. Question number 3. 8 million coins are being released from the Royal Australian Mint this month to commemorate 30 years of which famous Australian children's music group?
Peter.
Yes, Mr. Reid.
Is it the reunion of Joel Proctor and Captain Feathersword?
It is not the reunion of Joel Proctor and Captain Feathersword.
Sarah.
Andrew.
Alex.
I'm going to give that one to Sarah.
Surely it's the Wiggles.
It is, in fact, the Wiggles. Congratulations. The first of these coins were released to Woolworth stores on the 6th of October. All right. Question number 4. This is Prime Minister Scott Morrison speaking earlier this fortnight.
By the middle of next month, and perhaps earlier, we will have ensured there is enough.
What will there be enough of?
Peter.
Yes, Mr. Reid.
State premiers for the next 6 months?
No, unfortunately not.
Sarah.
Yes, Sarah.
Enough toilet paper so no one has to run out again.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good, but unfortunately not.
Andrew.
Andrew.
Enough chicken chippies in school canteens.
Wouldn't that be nice, but unfortunately not.
Isla,
Isla.
enough vaccines.
Well, let's take a look.
We will have ensured there is enough vaccines that everybody who wanted to have it can have it.
Congratulations, Isla. You are correct. Question number 5. This fortnight, the Penrith Panthers won the 2021 NRL Grand Final. After the game, Penrith Panthers winger Brian To'o did something significant. What did he do?
Andrew.
Yes, Mr. Oxby.
Alex, I think you'll find he's the first ever rugby league player who was able to recite the alphabet right through A to Z.
You know what? He possibly was, but that's not the answer we're looking for.
Peter.
Yes, Mr. Reid.
He went and bought a cheeseburger, fries, and Coke for 5 cents at Macca's because he downloaded the app.
I don't believe he did.
Alex.
Yes, Alex.
He proposed to his wife after the game.
Well, he proposed to his girlfriend. He proposed to his girlfriend, but we will give you that one, Staffer. Well done. Congratulations, mate. Hey, look, question number 6. What announcement made by the New South Wales government made parents of school children quite happy this fortnight?
Isla,
Yes, Isla.
we go back to school as of October 25th.
Correct. Question number 7. What big name film was finally premiered in London this fortnight after being delayed due to the COVID pandemic?
Andrew.
Yes, Mr. Roxby.
It's the 9th installment, Harry Potter and the Jab of Freedom.
Wait, I haven't heard that one.
Alex.
Yes, Alex.
Foxy's Ferris wheel ride.
That's a cool one, mate. I would love to see that in film, actually, but no, that's not the answer we're looking for.
Peter.
Yes, Mr. Reid.
Rox's Spring Fair disaster.
Again, I would love to see that in film, but no, not the answer we're looking for.
Andrew.
Yes, Mr. Roxby.
It's a new James Bond film.
It is, and do you know the name of it?
We Won't Ever Die. Too Close to Die.
I'm going to give that one to you, Mr. Roxby. No Time to Die. Question number 8. It has been announced this fortnight that the W League, which is the top division women's soccer league in Australia, is changing its name. What is it changing to?
Sarah.
Sarah.
I'm pretty sure they're all coming under the one banner called the A-League or something like that.
That is correct. The W League is changing its name to the A League, the same name as the Men's Soccer League, as a step towards gender equality. Question number 9. Why is British singer Adele in the news this fortnight?
Andrew,
Yes, Mr. Oxby.
she was kebab on The Masked Singer.
No, she was not.
Peter,
Yes, Mr. Reid.
she's been investigated for dodgy dealings with former Premier Gladys Berejiklian.
No, I don't believe that she is actually.
Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah.
Did she run out of toilet paper?
I mean, she might have, Sarah, but I don't think she did.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
She was caught rolling in the deep.
No, she wasn't. Sorry, mate.
Isla.
Isla.
Is she coming out with a new album?
Oh, yes, I'm going to give that one to you. She unexpectedly released a teaser for an upcoming single called Easy on Me that is coming out on October the 15th. So stay tuned for that one.
I think that new song, Easy on Me, coincided with Gladys Berejiklian's, the announcement she's going. It's like,
Yeah.
take it easy on
yeah.
me, go easy on
Yeah.
me, I'm not.
If she's British, do you reckon she went to the premiere of Rox's Ferris wheel?
You know what? I reckon she actually stars in it.
Mrs. Roxby.
I open my heart out and, I'll tell you about some bit of personal history and you're taking it too far, Mr. Reid.
Just trying to. You opened your heart, but you got head stuck, mate. So.
Hey, look, we're gonna finish with one last question here. There is a petrol shortage in the UK at the moment, and people are lining up for hours for fuel, which is not good news. But this guy, in his TikTok video that has gone viral, found a hack.
Queuing for petrol.
What is his hack,
Peter.
Mr. Reid?
He's waiting for the St. Philip's Cessnock teachers to go on school camps and then steal their petrol from the cars.
No, I don't think so.
Sarah?
Sarah?
He's waiting to hijack someone's car.
Unfortunately, not the answer we're looking for, Sarah.
Peter.
Yeah, Sister Reid.
Isn't he just riding around on a horse everywhere?
Well, let's take a look.
Queuing for petrol. Queuing for petrol. Queuing for petrol. But I'm on a horse. I'm on a horse. I'm on a horse. I don't need petrol because he runs on carrots. He runs on carrots. He runs on carrots. I don't need petrol because I'm on a horse.
That's so good.
As you can see, this guy traded in his car for a horse. So, Mr. Reid, you are correct. Well, that brings an end to Have You Been Paying Attention? Good News edition for this fortnight. Let's check out the final leaderboard. Well, thank you to all of our contestants today. However, the winner this fortnight is Isla, shortly followed by Mr. Roxby and Sarah, and then Mr. Reid, and then Alex coming in 5th. So congratulations, Isla. Well played, and well played to all of our contestants. That's it from us. Back to the couch.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. Alright, we're going to shift gears a bit now, away from the good news going on in our world at the moment, to some good news found in the Bible. And for this, instead of listening to one person speak to us like we normally would in chapel, we're going to hear from a few different staff members each fortnight who for a couple of minutes each are going to share a piece of good news from the Bible. A piece of good news that has inspired them and encouraged them in their lives. So, let's do it.
Hey everyone, I am missing being at school so much, but good news, we are going to be back very, very soon. I hope you are filling your minds and your hearts with good news. You're not spending too long focusing on the daily press conferences and things that might be stressing everybody out. I've been given so many pieces of good news throughout my life. And I think one of the best pieces of good news that I was given was when I was a teenager. And somebody told me that I actually didn't have to have my life together all the time. I didn't have to be making all the right decisions to be worthy of being loved by other people and being loved by God. Guys, there are going to be times throughout your life where you make bad decisions, where you're feeling awful about yourself, and that guilt and that shame carries with us and it stops us from doing things. And I remember feeling like there was no way anybody could love me from the things that I had done or the way that I felt, especially God. But in the Bible, there is a story when there was a woman who had been caught in adultery. And there were all these people who had pulled her out of her house and she was completely naked. She'd been caught in the act of adultery. And they wanted to kill her for what she had done. But Jesus saw what was happening and he stood in front of her and he started writing something in the sand, and we don't know what that was, but whatever it was, the people who were accusing her looked down and they stepped back and they retreated. And Jesus looked her in the eyes and said, "You are forgiven. Go and sin no more." And I love that story because it just shows that even the most disgusting, terrible parts of us that we're embarrassed of, God still sees and he still loves us regardless. Yes, he wants the best for our life, and yes, he wants us to make good choices, and we should try to live that way. But please don't ever feel like you've done something too big to be loved by God or to be loved by other people. I just pray and I hope that you learn to lean into his goodness and not to hide yourself from him, because, like, spoiler, he already knows anyway. And he's there and he's going to forgive you and love you time and time and time again when we might not be able to understand that, but God is good and he gets it. And the good news is he loves you no matter how dumb you have been throughout your life. So I hope that feels like good news to you too, because to me, just that simple idea that he loves me no matter what literally changed everything.
I want to share with you some of the things that are incredibly important to me and some of the really good news stuff that comes to me out of the Bible and out of my faith and my relationship with Jesus. Psalm 136 says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, his love endures forever." I love this verse. He is good. He doesn't just have a measure of goodness. He is the thing by which all good things are measured. He is good, and his love endures forever. There is no end to it. There's no thing that can get in the way of God's love for me, except for me. But he's good all the time. He is calling me closer to him, and he is forgiving, and he is full of grace, and that is the best news ever. Another bit of amazing good news comes from Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6, where God, speaking to Joshua, says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified, for the Lord your God goes before you. He will never leave you or forsake you." What an amazing promise. And I firmly believe that that promise is available to you today. That you can be strong and courageous no matter what is going on around you, no matter the circumstances you find yourself in, no matter what's happening in your family or with employment or with the world around you, or with viruses or with your sporting team or whatever it is. You can be strong and courageous and know that God is with you. And the last part of that verse, he will never leave you or forsake you. What an incredible comfort that is, to know that God will never leave you. He will never forsake you. I will confess though that every now and then I lose sight of him. But I want you to know it's not because he's left me. It's because I'm not looking at him. So those times where perhaps I feel like he has left me or forsaken me, perhaps it's just because I'm not looking in the right direction, or my eyes aren't pointed the right way, or I'm not paying attention to what it is he's saying or what it is he's doing, because he's promised to never leave me or forsake me. It doesn't say anything about my actions. It says a lot about his. He is faithful. He is always there, and he's always calling every single one of us to more, to be better, to grow, to move forward. That's incredibly good news.
Have you ever started something and not finished it? During remote learning, have you picked up a new hobby or started a project but not really completed it? We can tend to be like this, where we start things and don't really follow through. In the story of the Bible, we meet God, and God creates the world. But the world rejects him. The world turns its back on him and breaks its relationship with him. And we see the consequences of this in our world today. The challenges, the brokenness, the hardships. I guess COVID's a really good example of that. Things just aren't what they ought to be. This is not good news. But here is the good news. God does not give up. Because of his love for the world,
He relentlessly pursues fixing it. He does not give up, and he wants our relationship with him to be restored and the world to be as it ought to be. How does he do it? How does he fix it? Let me read something from the Bible for you. It comes from John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. How does God fix the world? In his love, he sends Jesus. Jesus is the one. So unlike God, we tend to give up on stuff. When something gets too hard, we give up. But God is relentless in his love for us, and he sends Jesus to fix the world. And this is good news.
Hey, how good was that? That actually brings an end to chapel for today. But just as we wrap up, I actually really want you to know that while there's so much negativity and bad news surrounding us at the moment, there's actually so much goodness as well. Yes, in our world, but also in the Bible too, and I hope you've been able to see that today. You know, I'd love it if you join me in prayer. God, we thank you so much that you are good, and we thank you that no matter what happens around us, Lord, that your goodness is constant. God, we thank you for loving us. We thank you for caring for us. We thank you for all you are and all that you do. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in today, and have a great rest of your week.